What's up, people? In this video, we are going to do this one by Carolina Pakula. It is
What is up, my skinny legends? Welcome to
Kenny KO. What I took to lose 38 pounds in 6 weeks. This is like a cursed video for me or something. I've started doing it like actually 5 times, but for one reason or another, like the videos are unusable. So here we go. Now we're going to get through it hopefully this time. If you guys have any other recommendations for videos, let me know, por favor.
the Kenny KO, where you were guaranteed to be triggered. Ever since winning my men's physique competition, everyone wants to know what I ran running into this contest prep to drop 38 pounds in 6 weeks. Well, I hate to burst everyone's bubble, but it was done entirely natural with zero cardio. No, I'm just kidding. That's what every single fake natural would say. Before this video gets underway, I want to give a huge shout out to Dr. Tony Huge and Mark Lobliner for helping me on the 6-week prep. So I have my handy dandy whiteboard here so I can remember exactly everything I took for the 6-week prep, which was 38 pounds loss. And just to give you guys the statistics, I was 245 when I started this prep 6 weeks out from the competition. And the day before show day, I was 207. So that's where I'm getting the 38 pounds. Also, a disclaimer, this is just my experience. This is just what I did. I do not recommend anyone do what I did. This is just me relaying information of what I did personally, but I'm not promoting anyone do this. In fact, I say remain natural your entire life if it is possible for you. But me being 100% transparent, I definitely want to let you guys know every single thing, every single dosage I did to achieve the physique that you have been seeing. So without further ado, 6 weeks out, what did I take? Let's start with the fundamentals that I ran all the way through prep. As you guys can see in the background here, I had the hard muscle builder from Magnum. Of course, you guys can use my discount Kenny KO if you want. That will be in the description down below. Then I took Magnum's primer, as I mentioned, 6 weeks out, and this is something I run, guys, year round. Absolutely.
Alright, so basically I've actually already seen this part of the video. Basically what he's sponsored by Magnum, so like, you know, whatever. And he'll say in a minute, he's like, the only reason I recommend these, the only reason I decided to partner with Magnum is because I use their products anyway. So this is not them just like reaching out to me and saying like, hey, why don't you like, you know, sponsor, or why don't you let us sponsor you? We'll send you free shit and like pay you some money just to say that you took these during your contest prep. I've looked at the ingredients on a lot of this stuff, but most of it just seems like your basic like herbal proprietary blend of various things that does not really have much of anything interesting in it anyway, right? Like all of these, like you guys can't even really see this. Avena sativa, I'm pretty sure that's just oats. This is like oat extract, right? Tongkat Ali root extract. This is something called Long Jack, right? This is like $2 a bottle. You can buy this stuff. Forslean, right? This sounds like it's forxilin or some sort of extract of forxilin, right? Which is a mushroom. So like all of these supplements, right? You basically what you do is you like. This isn't what he was taking. This is something else. He's never actually mentioned that he took Thrust, as far as I recall. But basically, what you do, what all these supplement companies do, is they'll mix a bunch of herbs and they'll find out what part of the herb, like what molecule or what metabolite, like has the most effect, and then they'll isolate that. They'll brand it. They'll call it Forslean, right? I don't know if you guys can see that. You know, Forslean, right? They call it Forslean. They brand it as something, and then they put that in there so that it doesn't say like forxilin extract, you know, at this rate, right? And they put all this like hydroxy, blah, 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 like all these like chemical sounding terms that make it sound like it's like actually something interesting, which is fine. I've never tried this. I don't know if it really does anything actually, but like if it was up to me, like this guy, I highly, highly doubt he has a body like this because he took Thrust, right? Doesn't claim that anywhere on this page, but you know, it's like, I don't know. I wouldn't buy any of this stuff anymore. But that's just me. I mean, whatever. Like, what's this guy's name? Kenny Co. Like, good for him. Whatever. But my opinion is that it's better to just buy the raw powders yourself. You don't need a mix of all of this stuff. I don't know. Again, like I said, I've never tried it. Maybe it's like the best thing since sliced bread. I think that it's better to just buy the raw powders for much cheaper, instead of paying $70 for like a bunch of herbs mixed together, herb extracts, which I think is just overpriced nonsense. But hey, that's just me. Magnum Sups, if you watch this, you want to sponsor me, I'll totally take all of your shit and like you can pay me for it.
absolutely mind-boggling that they can actually fit this many into this short amount of pills. So you have your cell repair, you have your amino prime, you have your digestive complex, you have your brain food, you have your power fats, which are extremely important for overall health, and especially when doing a contest prep and cutting, is your omega-3s, your 6, and your 9. You had your hydration plus, so a lot of people get dehydrated when they're doing a contest prep. They get a lot of muscle cramps, me especially in my feet for some reason this prep. I don't know why it was, but this is something I would take every single morning just upon waking up. Then the other Magnum supplement I took was the Mimic. Let me just make this very clear, guys. I was taking Magnum supplements before I even got partnered with Magnum. The whole reason on my channel I even decided to partner with Magnum was because it's a company that I use. I'm gonna give you information on stuff I use, so it's a win-win because you guys get a discount code with Kenny KO along with getting the supplements I also use, and then I also get to be working alongside a company that I truly love and use myself. So I want to go too in depth with what every supplement does because this video would be way too long. But Mimic basically shuttles all the carbs you eat into your muscle. Now moving on to the juicy stuff that everyone wants to know is the Sarms. And just to make this clear, guys, I didn't.
So before he gets into the Sarms, I guess I'll spoil the video for you if you haven't seen it. He's claiming, and I guess I believe him, right? Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. He claims that he achieved the results that he did using Sarms only. I'm guessing Sarms and like these Magnum supplements. So no steroids, in other words, which is, as far as I know, extremely uncommon for a physique competitor to not use any steroids and to only use Sarms and like over-the-counter supplements. That's rare. Especially he won like first in his weight class, right? He didn't win first overall, but he won like first in his weight class, which is very good. So definitely put in the work. I'm not saying he didn't put in work or anything like that, or he's lying or something, but just want to note that it's uncommon. Also, funny thing, there's a very, very good book called Never Split the Difference. Very good, written by this guy, Chris Voss, right? Is it Voss? I think it's Voss, not Vos. Yeah, Voss. I've listened to this audiobook probably about a dozen times. Extremely good book about an FBI negotiator or hostage negotiator for the FBI. And the book is all about negotiation and how to communicate in a way so that the other side of the negotiation sees things your way and you get 100% of what you want instead of having to compromise, right? So excellent book. Highly recommend that you take a look at that. And the reason why I'm bringing this up now is because he used a term that, Chris Voss says in the book you should always watch out for, which is win-win, right? Anytime anybody says win-win, it's a win-win situation. Like, always kind of look at that person a little suspiciously, right? And of course, I don't think this guy has like some sinister plot to like do anything literally other than like make a little bit of affiliate income from selling these supplements. But like, I don't know, I just thought of that when I heard this.
Run any anabolics on this contest prep. This was strictly a Sarms contest prep for 6 weeks for the 38 pounds lost to win first in the men's physique open class. I didn't get the overall, of course, but many of you probably saw the vlog show day video that I published. The Sarms, I ran a blend of 3. It was LGD at 15 milligrams a day, RAD 140 at 30 milligrams a day, and YK11 at 10 milligrams. You guys are more than capable to go on Google and look up all the results and the studies and everything that's been done and what the benefits versus negatives versus side effects are. Moving on to week 5, everything stayed the same. All the supplements I just talked about along with the Sarms at that dosage remain the same. Moving into week 4, all those I mentioned stayed the same as well. The only difference was I started to implement Magnum's e-break, which is right over here. And what the e-break does is it helps prevent estrogen and also help me sleep at night because I get extremely bad insomnia for some reason whenever I'm doing a contest prep. I know my hormones are all over the place, of course, with the Sarms and the diet, the low fat, everything I was doing all accumulates to you literally gain 0 sleep. And in the next couple supplements, you're gonna see exactly why I got 0 sleep. But the e-break not only helps with the estrogen, but it also helped me sleep a lot. And on to week 3, this is where things get very exciting. 3 weeks out from competition. I took a Rimidex 1 milligram every other day, which is an AI, as I mentioned.
God, I really miss speeding these videos up to like 4 times speed. Yeah, so like e-break, I don't know, did he say this? And I was just like spacing out, but it reduces your estrogen. So I don't know why, I'm not sure the reason for this. I guess because the idea is that Sarms, like what do Sarms do, right? Selective androgen receptor modulator. So what does that mean? Basically what Sarms will do is they will trick your body into thinking that you have higher testosterone than you really do, because it's going to give you the same effects that steroids do. Bigger muscles, well, really just bigger muscles, right? That's why they're called, Sarms are anabolic, but they're not androgenic. Androgenic just means male, right? Feminist, right? Or estrogenic is like for female, androgenic is for male. And the idea with taking an anti-estrogen pill or drug or supplement while you're doing steroids is to prevent what's called aromatization, which is where part of your body will convert the testosterone that is naturally being, or not naturally being raised, that you are putting into your body into estrogen, right? And if you have too much estrogen in your body as a man, gives you like a puffy look, you retain water, you get moody, and you can grow like breast tissue. But because SARMs do not activate your like androgen receptors, like theoretically no aromatization is going to happen because they're not going, there's no testosterone for them to convert into estrogen anyway, right? So like the thing with these estrogen blockers, or there's two types. There's an estrogen blocker, and then there's a suicidal inhibitor, which will like bind to the receptor site and kill the receptor site, so that even if you have estrogen in your body, you can't use it because the receptor site is dead, right? And they grow back, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's not like permanent. But those will lean you out. So I'm not sure if he took them in order to lean out for the contest prep. In fact, now that I think about it, I think that is why he did it. He also mentioned that he took clenbuterol, which is basically like a stimulant that helps you burn fat. Not the best thing to take, but whatever, like, you know, you're in the bodybuilding world. It's all about like how much, like what kind of drugs you could take without dying and still looking the best, basically. So it's not like, you know, this is not, this level of bodybuilding, regardless of how good the guy actually looks, has nothing to do with being healthy, really, aside from the working out component. It's all about like taking drugs to shape your physique.
I just wanted to come in extremely dry, hard. I didn't want estrogen fighting me at all during the fat loss stages or anything. Also, in 3 weeks out, I implemented Clen at 25 micrograms. Now, this is the one I know I'm going to get a lot of controversy over, and let me explain myself. With my family's history of previous heart condition, that's the reason I don't take anabolics, for those of you that are maybe new and watching the channel. And in many live streams, I talk about how I never take Clen because it has very similar effects on the heart, and I never want to take anything that goes down that route. But I'm only human, guys, and I like to be transparent. As hard as it is for me to say, I could have easily made this video and said, I didn't take Sarms, I did this natural, I didn't take any Clen, I didn't take any Arimidex, I didn't take anything. I didn't even take your standard vitamin supplement. But as I stated, guys, I just like to be transparent. I like to be open. I'm only human. And I know it was a risk. Before taking any Clen, I made sure of what I was getting into, the correct dosage, what the side effects were. When the side effects would get bad enough, that I should immediately cut the Clen out. And I knew what to look for. So I played it steady. 25 was a little bit high to start, I'm not going to lie, but that's the dosage that my pills came in, and I didn't want to go through the process of cutting them up into segments of 4. As I mentioned, Clen, 25 micrograms. Moving into 2 weeks out, now the Arimidex at 1 milligram goes daily rather than every other day. So I'm not going to lie, you feel like complete and utter in your estrogen like this. My energy levels were shot. I just had zero sex drive. I felt completely awful, especially because I'm not running a base test or anything along with the SARM cycle. I'm extremely suppressed. Let me make that very clear. These SARMs, LGD, RAD, and YK are all extremely suppressive. So if you guys are ever considering running SARMs, please, please, please make sure to run a PCT. You can't even imagine how many DMs I get on the daily saying, I'm going to run this SARM, I'm going to run this SARM, and do I need a PCT? Of course you need a PCT. They're all suppressive, especially at these dosages that I was running. So if you don't, you are going to have a very hard time recovering. It is going to take you a very long time to bounce back depending on your genetics, and I highly recommend you take a PCT and play it extremely safe, or as I mentioned, just stay natural, honestly. But moving in, like I said, the 2 week out mark, the Arimidex at 1 milligram daily. I also upped the Clen from 25 micrograms to 50 micrograms daily. This is where, guys, the Clen shakes, many of you have probably seen videos.
Yeah, so basically, SARMs, I've said this before, again, like I said, just in case you don't know what SARMs are. SARMs were created to be like a safer alternative to steroids, right? Like, ideally, what SARMs would do is you would get the anabolic effects of steroids, building more muscle, basically building more muscle. And I guess some of them burn fat, maybe indirectly as a result of having more muscle. But without all of the like steroid side effects of, you know, your natural testosterone shutting down and growing hair in weird places and going bald and like all these other things that can happen to you if you take steroids, right? And that is true to a degree, but the problem is that your body still thinks, because your body is responding in a way that it would as if your testosterone was much higher. Just, I guess, in regards to the like anabolic side effects, your body's thinking, oh, well, I have all this extra testosterone in my body, even though it really doesn't. I'm going to shut off my natural testosterone production, right? So when you're taking 3 different SARMs I haven't really checked the dosage. I'm going to assume, based on what he said about everything else that he's done, that the dosages are on the higher end, at least, of average. That your natural testosterone production is going to be like at the floor. Like you're going to feel, and why is that bad? Because you feel like absolute shit, right? It's not good to do long term, which is why all like bodybuilding bros will tell you that whatever steroids you decide to run, because most of them are running more than one thing at once. They don't just run like one steroid, and it's like, to do steroids, quote unquote, is not just like one substance like that says like steroids on it and you inject it and that's it. There's a lot, right? And they're all kind of good for different things. But the like the general staple, let's call it, of doing steroids is actual testosterone. And most bodybuilders will tell you that if you are going to do steroids, you should run testosterone with whatever else it is that you run. Because if you take, let's say, another steroid that is not actual testosterone, it's some derivative of testosterone or whatever, and you inject that, your body's still going to crash your natural testosterone production. So if you don't have any additional testosterone coming into your body or circulating in your body, you're going to feel like absolute shit because you do not have any testosterone. And as a man, if you have zero testosterone or like minimal because you're suppressed, that's what suppression means, you are going to feel very bad, right? And what he's talking about, PCT, is called post-cycle therapy. So when you go off SARMs or steroids or whatever it is, your body has been, your testes, I guess, which are responsible for producing testosterone, have atrophied because you've gone several weeks, if not several months, without your body naturally producing any testosterone. It's as if you're to sit in a chair for 6 months and you don't get up from that chair, right? By the time you actually try and get up from that chair, you're going to be extremely weak. So post-cycle therapy is like a series of drugs that you can take over, I don't know how long it's supposed to go, like 6 weeks, let's say, or 8 weeks, to get your natural testosterone production back up to speed. Most of them are drugs. From the studies that I've read, there are some herbal supplements that you can take that will boost your testosterone. There's some controversy over that because all the studies were done on what's called hypogonadal men or animals. Hypogonadal just means that the animal or human was not producing testosterone. So, it was as opposed to a healthy male who is producing testosterone. So if you crash your natural testosterone production with steroids or SARMs, and then you take one of these herbs, it will boost your testosterone, right? That will happen because that's what the studies were studying. But the reason they say that like Tribulus, for example, does not boost testosterone is because what they mean is that it does not boost testosterone on a healthy male who is not taking, who's not deficient in their testosterone production, if that makes sense.
Videos, my hands would just shake like this all day long. I also got really bad migraines. My sleeping pattern, this is where I mentioned taking that e-break helped a lot because my sleeping was already pretty bad, but once I upped the clen to 50 micrograms a day, the headaches, the night sweats, I couldn't write anything. Trying to sign my name on any check or piece of paper or even write anything out was damn near impossible. 1 week out, the only change was I upped the clen from 50 now to 75 micrograms. I'm not gonna sit here and lie, guys, clen works, and I'm not advocating anyone do it or go out and get it. I don't even know how to describe it. As soon as I started taking it, guys, especially getting around the 75 microgram mark, I was shedding weight like crazy. And I'm not talking about water weight because at this point, because of my Arimidex and taking the e-break, and I wasn't taking any test-based and there's nothing that converts to estrogen, I was holding 0 water. So I know all that weight loss, and the SARMs, of course, are keeping my muscles full, so I'm not giving up too much muscle during this prep as opposed to a natural competitor, and the weight was just shedding off daily. And it is a little bit unfair, I'm not gonna lie, and I totally understand why now in natural bodybuilding competitions they actually test for clen. But that covers the supplementation all the way through the 6-week prep, the 38 pounds lost to winning the men's physique open division, first place. By the way, I do have another contest coming up, guys. I decided, I don't know if I'm gonna release what show I'm doing yet. I almost like it to be a surprise, but I'm definitely gonna be vlogging a lot of it on the channel, so make sure if you're not subscribed to subscribe. The number one staple for anything in bodybuilding is 100% always going to be nutrition. You could run all the anabolics in the world. If your diet's not in check, you are still going to be fat. Mark my words, okay? You could take all the SARMs in the world, combined with all the anabolics in the world, combined with all the pro hormones, take 1,000 micrograms of clen a day, and guess what? You are still going to be fat if your diet is complete and utter. So that wraps it up. I didn't take any anabolics for those of you that are curious. I only took SARMs. There's the 3 blends, as I mentioned, the LGD 4033, the RAD 140, and the YK11 at the dosages I have mentioned, along with just your everyday standard subs from Magnum. If you guys want any Magnum, as I mentioned, I have a huge discount for you.
I would kind of like to know what PCT he ran, and I'm actually going to ask in a comment. Hey man, great video. Was wondering how you found what your experience was like coming off the SARMs and what you ran for PCT. How hard was it and how long until you felt normal again? I'm gonna start leaving comments on these videos unless I absolutely tear these people apart. Yeah, okay, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess that was informative. I wonder like why these bodybuilders do this. I guess it's for the glory, and homie seems to be doing pretty well, 350,000 subs. Good for him for being transparent. Also, very good. All right, you want to promote the supplement company, I get it, like everyone wants to make a buck. Yeah, I mean, if I were to do something, I would not run SARMs. I would never run SARMs because, like, why not just run steroids, right? Like, the side effects of SARM, and I know he said he didn't do it because like it can have an effect on your heart, like your cholesterol levels will change as a result of running steroids, and it will, I think, increase your red blood cell count or something. It's supposed to be bad. It makes your blood thicker, I think. It's the like simple explanation. I could be wrong. So there is that to consider, but like if that was, like if all I could run was SARMs, I would never do it because you feel like absolute garbage. I've tried to run SARMs twice. I tried Austerine both times. Did not feel good at all. Quit after a week both times just because, I don't know, I didn't get any blood tests, but like I'm assuming it was because it crashed my natural testosterone production or something. Didn't really notice much of a difference after a week either. Maybe like a little bit more muscle, but like give me creatine, give me agmatine, you know, and maybe someday I'll run like steroids for a couple months. We'll just test it out. Okay, yeah, so interesting what I took to lose 38 pounds in 6 weeks. As far as oh, I know what I was going to say. Like the whole like nutrition is 100% of everything, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, if you're taking like T3, it's like bodybuilders will take it so that they can essentially eat whatever they want and not get fat. I'm simplifying, but if you know, it's also the joke. It's like fat people, they say, oh, my thyroid is slow or whatever. No, it's because you're fat and you eat like shit, right? But you can take thyrosin. I think it's called thyrosin. There's thyrosin and there's one more. Shortened to T3, I believe, is thyrosin. But anyway, you can take that, and it's like I think it's a hormone that your thyroid produces, and it'll make your metabolism like go through the roof. You could eat as much as you want, whatever you want, you won't get fat. Plus, like if you're running all these anabolics, you can eat, you have a lot more freedom as far as whatever you eat. But people make this like this claim that like, oh no, well your diet still has to be 100% on point, otherwise you'll get fat if you're like, even if you're taking steroids. Like, no. gonna go with no on that. But anyway, very interesting video. Cool guy.
It's just Penny KO. You can head to their site, plug in that.
Yeah, whatever. I don't care. Anyway, if you guys have any other recommendations for videos or YouTubers, let me know. Leave me a comment, por favor. Peace.